The stage is set, the groups have been decided, and the marbles are ready. Welcome everyone to the 4th season of the Team Quadrilla Marble League. We're here today. 24 teams have come to show that they have what it takes to qualify for the Team Quadrilla Marble League A Division. This 4th season brought to you by the Poison Ivy, our gracious hosts, who are auto-qualified, along with the Red Lotus, the Green Lotus, and the Valley Dashers, our top 3 from last season. Those also not joining us for today, the Blue Lotus, Treat Fleet, Mountain Climbers, and the Nickel Knights. They are relegated to the B Division, but the other 24 teams are all going to be in the qualifiers and are sorted into 3 groups of 8. The top 4 after 4 events will qualify. Here you can see on the docket for the first event of the qualifiers, balancing. If you're unfamiliar with the Quadrilla Marble League format, every marble will get a total from 1 to 20, and it's the total score added up for the 4 marbles gets the team score. Best team score will get the win. There you can see the beam getting narrow towards the end. That's where you can really ramp up the points. We're going to start off with Group A, and this is a stacked lineup of teams. Fans have been already calling this the Group of Death, with our first team, the Slimeballs, to start us off, our Season 2 champions and hosts of that season. Slimeballs did get a bronze in this event last season. They're showing it here with a finisher from their anchor marble. Slippery gets it done, and Slimy, also their captain, almost got to the end as well, just falling off to the near side at the narrow section. With a 15 and a 20, that puts them to 42. Even if their middle 2 marbles left something to be desired. Still, their first and last pulled their weight very well, and a 42 is a pretty good mark, I'd have to say, to start things off. Now, Celestials, how can they stack up to that? It is Cosmos in the front as captain. Nebula has been promoted to main member. We'll see how that works out. They just qualified for their first season last season, got 9th place overall. We'll see how they can do this time. All of them peeling off to the near side. No finishers, so it's not going to be as good as the Slimeballs for sure, but still a respectable effort. No marble really was a dead weight. They could see only 32, but it's not the worst score we've ever seen in balancing. Still, Slimeballs still the team to beat. Now, Team Atlantic, Sea Turtle leading the way. It's their same lineup as they've always had. One of them goes to the far side, the other 3 to the near. It's not going to beat the Slimeballs either, I don't think. No finishers as well for Team Atlantic. Team that did well in this event last season as hosts, but only managed 13th overall. And just by 1 point, they don't beat the Celestials. 31, just 1 point behind 32 that the Celestials set. Slimeball still well out in front. What can the Deep Divers do? First qualifier since Season 1 for the Season 1 champions. We'll see how they can do. Their captain will get all the way to the end. The other 3 marbles also doing pretty well, and I think they should take the lead for the Deep Divers. And the Deep Divers have been so strong in the earlier seasons, disappointing in the last with just 14th overall. They have brought their A game to the qualifiers. At least for this event, it's going to be 48 for them. It's a very strong score with their captain Seabed. After just winning the individual Quadrilla Marble League, they go all the way to the end in balancing. What can the Bacon Brawlers do? After a dominant B division, scored 130 points across 8 events, trying to qualify here, but it's all gone wrong for the Bacon Brawlers. What happened to them? A couple of marbles just falling off, actually 3 of them pretty much, falling off way earlier than they would have hoped. 1 marble does make it all the way to the narrow section with the 12. That's the first marble. Carnage is not their captain. Their captain was put to the back. That's dead last still for the Bacon Brawlers. After an amazing B Division season in Season 3, it's not what they had hoped, not what they expected. Now Olive Orbs. This is going to be much better for the Olive Orbs. All of their marbles, a very consistent effort, going to the narrow section. They don't get any finishers, just barely. Their last marble, Olive Wood, peels off to the far side, but this might contest for the lead. It does not. 2nd place for the Olive Orbs, just 4 points behind the Deep Divers. If that marble finished, it would have taken the lead, but amazing from the Olive Orbs, beating the Slimeballs. That puts them in 2nd place. Now, Amber Animals. Parrot at the helm with Tiger, the reserve previously promoted to a main member. Oh, everyone falls off to the far side for the Amber Animals. It's a decent effort, I think. But actually, I don't think any of them reached the narrow section. It'd be 9 points. This is the most any marble gets. That's from their captain and Tiger. It's only 31 that ties with Team Atlantic but loses out to the tiebreaker. So Ambrana was actually, that's not as good as I thought. Now, Heliospheres for the final runner. Heliospheres only managed 11th in the last B division, and it's all gone wrong for the Heliospheres. The first 3 marbles just completely fell apart. One of them might even get a 1. That's their second marble, only getting a 1, and that is just atrocious. Their last marble, Plasma, gets a 15. It's only good enough for 24, and dead last. Deep Divers will get the win in Group A with a 48, Olive Orbs in second, and the Slime Balls in third. Our 2 champions from Season 1 and Season 2. Up there in the top 3, that's unsurprising. Celestials running out the top 4. There you can see that is the cutoff line between if you qualify and if you don't. Now we're going to move on to Group B with the Bauble Squad to start us off. This team has had a very roller coaster journey in balancing. They got last in Season 1, won Season 2, and last again in Season 3. And it's going to be a decent run in Season 4, at least the qualifiers. I think they do get 1 all the way to the narrow section, but 1 marble also fell off very early. I think that's their Captain Jewel. So I'm not sure. Mixed fortunes for the Bauble Squad. It is 35, which is decent based on what we saw in Group A. So I think they'll be okay. Still, could have done a lot more with that, though. Efficient Eggs. Next runner with Scramble at the helm. It's the same lineup as they've always had. 1 marble. Ooh, very early compared to the other 3. Scramble. I'm not sure if the other marbles were ready or if they jumped the gun there, but seems okay as a total in balancing. Everyone peels off to the near side. No finishers, but we'll see. It's definitely beating the Bauble Squad. 41 actually. Get a 12 and a 15 in there. Oh, just barely 15 for Hardboiled. 41, that's a very solid run based on what we saw in Group A. Now the Yellow Lotus. The only Lotus team in the qualifiers the qualified one is relegated, but the Yellow Lotus, look at this! They will get a fantastic score in balancing. All of the marbles staying down very far down the beam. One of them does make it all the way to the end. And the other 3 also all falling off at the narrow section or very close to it. And that's a 53 for the Yellow Lotus. That's better than anything we saw in Group A. That's easily going to take the lead in Group B. We'll see if it holds, but this is surely looking like a group winning run at least. Hazelnuts now in the 4th runner. Won the B Division 2 seasons ago. Only managed 15th last season. Bit of a long hold on the gate. All of them do make it fairly down, except I think their captain. It's still a far cry from what we saw from the Yellow Lotus. The Hazelnuts, what will this be? I think they peeled off a lot near the narrow section. The entry into the narrow section is 38 for the Hazelnuts. That's good enough only for 3rd place. Only better than the Bauble Squad. Now we're getting into the B Division team, the Floundering Fish. Floundering Fish struggled in the A Division 2 years in a row, but then in the B Division they did very well with a 3rd place, and their anchor marble, Clownfish, put to the back for this event. They will get all the way to the end. Unfortunately for the other 3 marbles, they didn't make it to the narrow section. They didn't fall apart completely, but it's just an 8-6-7 for them. But still, their finisher put them all the way to 2nd place, only behind the Yellow Lotus. They tied with the Efficient Eggs based on the tiebreaker, but with a finisher, they will go ahead of them. That's pretty good from the Floundering Fish, trying to get back into the A Division. Now the Rock Pools, a team trying to qualify for the first time ever. See what they can do in balancing. Oh, a lot of marbles falling off very early. One of them, that's all the way to the 15. That's their anchor marble Waterfront, but we'll see how the other marbles do. I don't think this is going to be a great run. It's completely inconsistent for all the marbles. 30 only. It's not the worst run we've seen today, but still, it is dead last in Group B. Aside from their captain who got a 9 and their anchor marble Waterfront getting a 15, the other 2 marbles really dragged the team down. But now we're going on to the Golden Cheeses. New captain Mozzarella, what can they do? All 4 marbles still on, and it's going to be a good run for sure from the Golden Cheeses. No finishers, but very consistent. Golden Cheeses, after not qualifying last season, they only managed 9th in the B Division, trying to make it back. They've had good seasons in the past, and 51, just 2 points behind the Yellow Lotus, not even with a finisher. Oh, the Golden Cheeses, that would have been good enough to win Group A, just barely off the win in Group B. Now the final runner, the Sinister Sprinters. What can they do? It's a decent run for the other three marbles, and the final marble will make it all the way to the end. And that's their Captain Demon, making it all the way to the end, staying true to the center. The other three marbles to the near side, but this is going to be a good way to end Group B, and it's 43, third place for the Sinister Sprinters. They'd have a 12 in there, so the other marbles did pull their weight enough to get them in the top 3 of the group. And their Captain Demon trying to do enough to get them qualified again after Season 2. It's the Yellow Lotus, unsurprisingly getting the win ahead of the Golden Cheeses. Those two teams, very good runs, and balancing they will be in the top 2 after the first event. Sinister Sprinters and Flaming Fish rounding out the teams in the qualification zone. Now, for the final group of the day, the Group C with the Shadow Riders, Majestic Melons down to Team Nectar. Shadow Riders have perfect attendance in the Team Quadrilla Marble League. They've done well in every single Team Quadrilla Marble League there's been. Trying to qualify once again, and all 4 marbles still, and they'll have 2 finishers. 2 finishers for the Shadow Riders. That's the first run of the day that had 2 finishers. That was a fantastic run from the Shadow Riders. The other 2 marbles that didn't finish, also pretty good from them, and it's 60 points for the Shadow Riders. That's the best run of the day that we've seen, and what a way to make their mark in the qualifiers, trying to show that they are mainstay in the Team Quadrilla Marble League. Now the Majestic Melons, how will they follow up with that? The Majestic Melons have the record with 75 back in the Season 2 qualifiers. Shadow Riders have left a very good mark, and the Majestic Melons cannot live up to it whatsoever. They can't live up to the Shadow Riders run. They can't even live up to anything they've done in the past in this event. All the marbles falling off pretty early. One of them does get to the 12, but I mean 3 5s. That is not good whatsoever for the Majestic Melons. The Aquamarines got a perfect score in the very first balancing in Season 1 before the beam was extended. They will get a finisher here, will the Aquamarines. It's not going to live up to the Shadow Riders, but still with 1 finisher and the other 3 marbles not doing too bad, this will comfortably beat the Majestic Melons and get into 2nd place. I think they can be pretty happy with a run like this. It's 43. That was good enough for a top 3 spot in both of the previous 2 groups. We'll see if the Aquamarines can hold on to it. The Captain Azurite and the finishing zone there. Now, Icicles. Icicles have promoted Stalagmite after a very disappointing last place in Season 3. We'll see what they can do here. With a few marbles peeling off pretty early. One of them goes to the far side. No finishers though. And I think it's not too bad of a run for Icicles. I think a team that is expected to not do that great in these qualifiers. The changes they've made seem to be working pretty well so far. 40, it's good enough only for 3rd place, but the competition in Group C has been pretty stiff thus far. And now we're going to get into the B Division teams. With the Venomous Vipers, team that has podiumed overall in every B Division, still yet to qualify. One of them goes off the near side pretty early. The other 3 also peel off to the near side, but did get close to the narrow section. I think a couple of 12s in there. I don't think anyone got to a 15. And no finisher for them, so it's not going to challenge for the win. It's actually only going to be good enough for 4th place. Their captain only getting a 5 that dragged them down a bit, I'd have to think. The marbles at the narrow section, if they just held out for a bit more, they could have got a lot more points, but it's only good enough for penultimate in Group C thus far. Now the Pumpkin Patch. Promoted Squash to captain. One of them goes off to the far side, another one also does. And no finisher for the Pumpkin Patch, but it's still pretty decent all throughout. I think one of them will get all the way to the 15. That's going to be pretty good from them. But actually, it was only 12 from their captain Squash. It's only 34 actually. Pumpkin Patch, that run looked better than it actually was. So that is going to be 6th place. Or 5th place rather. Out of 6. Now, Deserters. The new marble Tanami. And they will get all the way. Almost to the finish. Will the new marble get? And Deserters, this was pretty good from them. After a team that got relegated back in Season 2, only managed 7th in the B Division, that's going to be good enough for 3rd place. The roster change seeming pretty good thus far. The new marble getting the furthest out of anyone. Our marble is also doing good enough to get him in 3rd place. Now, for the final run of the day, Team Nectar with Honey, their new captain. Oh, they're doing very well. 2 finishers it will be for Team Nectar. Team Nectar relegated twice in Season 1 and Season 2. They finally got out of the B Division, at least the relegation zone, and this is how they start in the qualifiers. 60 points, and based on the tiebreaker, they will get the win in Group C. That's the best run we've seen in Group C. That's the best run we've seen in the qualifiers as a whole. Talk about an underdog story and saving the best for last, because Team Nectar is at the top of Group C, at least after this event. Shadow Riders in second place, and the Aquamarines will round out the top 3. Deserters and Icicles and the cutoff zone, but Team Nectar, what a performance after their first qualifiers in almost over 2 years. But congratulations to the Deep Divers, Yellow Lotus, and Team Nectar. These 3 teams have topped their groups and have started off the qualifiers in the best possible way. The next event in the qualifiers will be the distance drag, and will be the sprint and the Quadrilla pursuit.